In this webinar, you'll meet Geri and her grandmother Rita, who she calls Mima. Rita's brought Geri to therapy with Dr. Marrow because Geri is having serious difficulties adjusting 4 months after coming to live with her, when Geri's mother, Rita's daughter, was murdered by Geri's father.
Geri, you've been there for such a short time. Why can't you give it?
I did give it a chance, but the school's not really giving me a chance.
What do you mean by that?
The kids, like, they're not treating me like how I was treated at my old school. Like, they forced me to do stuff. I'm kind of like the outcast. Everybody thinks I'm the slow one because I came in there late, so I'm not going to get the material like everybody else.
It's a good school. It's way better than the one you left. It will prepare you for the world in a way your other school can't even come close
It's
to.
not about my education. It's about me and how I feel. People know about what happened.
Oh.
I'm in the bathroom because I want my alone time, and I hear girls talk about, oh, the ghetto hood rat girl came here because her father killed her mother.
What other people think of you is none of your business. You don't need them to like you.
But it is my business because they're talking about me.
Right. And they're stupid. You don't need stupid people.
And that's why I don't need to be in that school. They wouldn't treat me like that at my other school. We're all friendly. We all work together.
But it's your school now. I mean, what can we do to get her adjusted to the school?
I think one of the things we need to talk a little bit about is, you know, your old school, you know, is near where you used to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you think about your old school and you think about the kids there, I mean, how long have you known the kids that were at your previous school?
Since kindergarten. I basically grew up with them.
So you've always known them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of an important piece. Because I wonder, you know, the new school, what I heard you say was they've kind of got their own little groups going on. They kind of got their own little cliques, and they probably also have gone to school together for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sometimes a little hard to kind of break in. But I also heard some language that I wonder about, quite offensive kinds of things. And I also heard you say that, you know, they are talking about what happened. No matter how they talk about it, I'm sure that has to be difficult.
I don't know what to say. I mean, you've moved, school's close by, it's a good school, and you're not exactly making responsible choices that reflect that you know what's best for you, in my opinion. She ran away. I could not find her. I had no idea where she was, how she got there, if she was alive even.
Oh, okay.
I went to go see my friends.
Did I know where you went? Did you tell me where you were going?
No.
How you got there? Where you stayed? Do I have a number in case I needed to get in touch with you? Where did you go?
Like I said, I went to my friend's house.
Who was your friend?
Why do you need to know who she is?
Because I'm responsible for you. I almost called the police. Why can't you tell me where you're going?
Because I feel trapped. I can't do nothing else. It's not like you want to go out or you ask if you like, oh, you want to go hang out with anyone, you want to go to the mall. It's always homework, and if it's not homework, it's chores. So I was like, I'll go and do what I want for the first time since the situation happened.
Wait a minute. I'm making you feel trapped.
Yes.
Because you have homework to do. Because you earn your allowance.
Can we go back for just a minute and revisit a little bit of what Geri said that I think I need to understand a little bit more? As you said, I didn't run away. I went back to see my friends, okay? And I wonder, does any of that have to do with, you know, the things that are happening in school? Does it feel like you just miss your friends?
Hmm. And they make me feel happy and comfort. I haven't felt happy since my mom died. And they understand what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I could talk to anybody at the new school about what happened because they just think it's, you know, crazy and psychotic. But my friends understand that it was, what's the word, traumatic for me.
Uh-huh.
And they comfort me and make me feel at home.
They're being friends.
Yes.
They care about you. They know you.
I care about you. I love you. I don't want you to be unhappy. Why couldn't you ask if you could go visit a friend?
I would have thought, did your chores? Did you get your homework done? It would have been some excuse of why you don't want me to go there. And I know you don't want me to be there.
Well, I don't, but I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you to get on with your life.
So you said you feel like she doesn't want you to be there. And you agreed you kind of don't want her to be there.
No, don't.
What's difficult about her being there for you?
It's not a healthy place. It's not the best neighborhood. Painful.
Painful. Mm-hmm. So Geri's lived there. How long have you lived in the community that you live? How long were you?
My whole life.
And your daughter lived there?
She did. And she died there.
I hear that. And you worry.
So worried.
And I hear you wanting, in some way, to find ways to kind of not have Geri go there, because you don't want to see anything happen to her, that you really want to be able to protect Geri, right? And yet it's a very difficult balance, because you want her to be safe, you want to protect her, you want to make sure that, you know, she grows up happy, healthy, alive. And yet Geri's kind of feeling like a little bird in a cage. And I think that's the difficulty, is that sometimes when bad things happen, those of us responsible for caring for children, we want them to be safe, and we hold on really tight.
Right. And how does a child really know what's best for them? You may think that you know what's best for you, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
You're right. She is growing, and it becomes important. Teenagers, children, they need boundaries. They need to know where the boundaries are. You're right, she can't.
And just leaving is not acceptable. I don't want you to feel trapped. I don't want you to have to listen to that shit at school. That's unacceptable as well.
So how do we think about that? We think about having that need to be in a place that you might be a little worried about, because you can't see her, touch her, make sure that she's safe at every moment there.
Mm-hmm.
But yet manage the fact that Geri also needs to have some sense of connection, some sense of belonging, which also makes her feel kind of psychologically safe.
So you miss your friends
Yes.
and you want to hang out with them.
Yes.
And you can't tell me when you're going to go visit them.
I can't tell you if you let me.
I'd give you a ride.
Seriously?
I would give you, seriously. And I'd have to know the number of the adult in the house where you're going. You could have friends at our house. Yeah,
I don't know about that.
why not?
I just don't want to be in the house all the time. Like I said, I feel trapped, and I just don't think me just being there would make me happy. Yeah, my friends might be there, but it still feels like your house is not home.
Home. What makes home home?
My parents.
Parents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Going back, seeing your friends. It's still not quite home though, is it? Mom's still not there. Dad's still not there. But it's close.
I miss her too. She'll always be my daughter, your mother. You're a lot like her. You're good. But I never trusted her choices. I knew there was something bad, something with your father. Geri, please don't roll your eyes at me. I can't afford to make that same mistake twice. But I don't want you to be unhappy.
Do you all talk about?
Joanna?
Yes. No.
Mm.
Is it hard to talk about Joanne?
She never wants to. There wasn't one moment where she asked if I was okay. How do I feel? It was just all about taking care of Jasmine.
Oh, oh. If I stopped, I'm afraid I couldn't go on and take care of you and Jasmine. That's why I sent you here, because I thought you could talk about her here.
But I needed you. And you weren't there.
Okay. Okay.
It's important to kind of just think a little bit about where we are, where the two of you are. What I hear is, Geri, you really need to, want to talk about your mom, remember your mom. And I know we talk a little about her during our time here. And you find talking about her brings you a little closer to her. It's important to remember, and I know we have we work on the memory box and, keeping pieces of her in some way with us. But what I hear from Mima is that she's not quite in the same place, that it's almost like if you talk about Joanne, there's a flood of kind of emotion, thoughts that are hard for you to manage.
Yep.
And hard for you to get through the rest of the day. And right now you're in a place where you're just trying to get through the day.
Sometimes just a minute. But that doesn't mean that I can't be there for you. I came here, never thought I'd see me on a couch. So, I'll do what it takes. I just don't know what it is.
Well, I think we need to talk a little bit about that. And we'll spend a moment here and talk a little bit about what you think you need from Mima. At the same time, Mima, it's also okay to do what you need to do to take care of self. And so that's where we have to balance. We need to figure out where is that time and place. Sometimes our brains record the not good parts about the other person, the memories of what happened. And it has trouble remembering the good times. Can you tell me a little bit about what you loved most about Joanne and your time together?
She loved Christmas. And I run a nursery, and remember when you used to run around the Christmas trees? You'd want to be there every night with the fire, and you'd drink so much cocoa, you were probably up till the sunrise. And they would come and help me sell the trees and decorate the windows.
That was a good space for you.
I mean, yeah. You could come. I mean, the trees are going to be delivered soon. You don't have to work, but you can run around the trees, and you can bring your friends.
She could. But I almost hear Geri saying, I need you, Mima. And I know that time and that memory included the two of you and Joanne. There's been a lot of change in your lives. And I think it's important to figure out what are the pieces that help us remember, feel safe, and connect. What do you think of that, Geri?
I know you're my Mima, but I want you to be like my mom. I want you to make me feel like I'm your daughter. Because I know you probably feel like you made a mistake letting her go to our old neighborhood. You can lead me in the right path.
Okay. Okay. What about the school thing?
Mima, I really don't want to be there. I don't.
I want you to go to college. I want you to be in a good school. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's something to explore.
You want to go back there?
It's not going to be easy, but it's something that I'm willing to try.
The SAT classes, the prep classes, the honor roll. I have to know where you are. I have to know that I can call and say, hey, how was school today?
So I think we're kind of at a good place, being able to maybe explore a little bit more about, how to make the transition for school, if that's, I think gives her an opportunity to return to something familiar while she's transitioning to being here. And I heard you all talk a little bit about finding ways to connect with each other and with through your memories of Joanne. So let's think about that focus.
The primary goal was to kind of follow up from the session I had with Geri, giving her, where we'd really scripted out, had an opportunity to think about what were the challenges she was having in her school, that she had concerns about, so that she could talk confidently to grandmother. So that was our primary goal, to be able to express to grandmother her challenges in her own words. Well, that is just something I think is extremely important when you're working with two people in a room, that you're not alienating one or allying with one at the expense of the other. So I'm really not focusing on either of them. I'm focusing on the question and how do we best get to a place to talk about the pieces that make the most sense. And so addressing both the fact that Mima wanted for her grandchild, Geri, to feel safe, and Geri wanted to feel at home, were, to me, things that we had to merge in some way for them to be able to be successful at living together and getting through these things. I was really focused predominantly on the issue at hand at first. And so the grief was not something I expected to deal with in the session. However, when Mima and Geri began talking about, the concept of home, we were able to explore what does home mean. And as Geri very quickly said, it's about my parents. And that really brought into the room this issue of grief. And it was important to understand that Mima's way of expressing or avoiding grief responses and Geri's need to be able to process grief responses were at odds. And so we had to find, again, a place where both Geri could get her needs met and Grandma wouldn't feel like she was falling apart. I think the most difficult part about the session was trying to, I don't know if I'd say difficult. I think the scariest part of the session was trying to address how Geri was feeling in school, the language that was used. I think something like ghetto, hood rat or something. That language, I understood very clearly what that meant in the community that Grandma lived in. I was almost a little afraid because myself and Geri are at least physically of similar race, and grandmother is not. So I didn't want to offend, but I wanted to be able to bring some of that into the room. I don't think it's a major issue, but it's just something that Geri saw as separating her from an ability to have relationships with these other students, at least partly. I think the turning point was when we were able to talk a little bit about positive memories and being able for Geri and Mima to be able to share in something that was positive that could join them. I think one of the fears you always have about that is that one person's positive memory can be another person's not so positive memory. So we needed to check in with Geri to see, was that Christmas image the same for her as it was for Mima?
I never thought that I would be that needy or that desperate or that unable to take care of myself where I would need to go see a shrink. But when it comes to my granddaughter, I'll do anything. And like I said, she had run away. She's putting herself in danger. And I thought, you know, Rita, you got to make some changes here. I can't do the same things I did with Joanna. Another thing I thought Dr. Marrow did really well was to make us talk about happy times. There's a lot of happy times. You don't remember the happy times when all I can think about is her looking at a gun going up and down her body. But that was a good thing to do. That helped me remember how much I love Geri, and that maybe at some point in the future, I'll be happy again. I'm beginning to think that maybe my granddaughter isn't irresponsible, that maybe she knows what's best for herself. Maybe she's right about some things. I'm trusting her maturity a little bit more. I think I could come to respect Dr. Marrow. I like people who do a good job, who know what their job is and do a good job. I mean, I don't always think of myself as a tough woman. I run a nursery. I take care of plants. But yeah, she's, I'll go back. Just let me put it that way.
It was important to talk about missing my mom with Dr. Marrow because it kind of is something that me and my Mima haven't discussed. Like, we don't discuss about my mom. And I think it was important to talk about her because I think that's was something that could bring us together was my mom. The hardest moment for me in this session was kind of just opening up to my Mima because I felt like I really couldn't. Like, I wish I could open up to her at home or at her house, but that was kind of just the hardest part because I didn't want her to, like, make her feel like what she was doing wasn't right. I just wanted her to just kind of understand where I was coming from. By the end of the session, I think my Mima was showing more care to me just because we weren't in, like she said, she wouldn't expect her to be on the couch. But it definitely showed her that, you know, it is time for, like, her to be more open to me and understand where I'm coming from and making sure I'm okay because it wasn't like that before we had this session. So I think it did. By the end, she did show her carefulness, and I think we're going to have a better relationship after.